a full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. 6, 3, 2, 1.
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And I'd like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday night. And if you're listening to the show on Tuesday or Wednesday on the East Coast, what's the date today? November 26th. This show is live. So if you'd like to be part of the show tonight, the way you do that is to call this number, 702-957-1037. And why would you want to call in, you ask? Well, it's because we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, which of course is aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and all of the things that the mainstream media won't touch. Because of course, if they talk about these things are anomalous things. These things are particular things that have no explanation at times. And if they can't tell you what it is, they can't brainwash you. And if they can't brainwash you, they're wasting their time. So that's why you want to call into the show. So it is live. So if you want to be part of it, there you go. There's the phone number. You can also join the Discord, which the link is in the chat, which I'll put that in just a second here. And the Discord is a chat and a voice client, and it's another way to get on the show if you don't like the long distance. It's a Vegas area code, streaming from Vegas, etc. So there it is, and there's your Discord link. So that link expires in 24 hours. So if you'd like to be part of the Discord family, you got 24 hours to click that link and join. And there it is. Okay, so tonight, this is part 2. We did part 1 on, when was that, Sunday? Was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday night. We did part 1, and it was War of the Worlds and life on Mars. So we've got more of the same. We've got part 2, which we're going to play in the second half of the show, the actual War of the Worlds broadcast, the original 1938 broadcast from, what's his name? Orson Welles, written by H.G. Wells. So we're going to do that in the second half. But in the first half, what we'll do is we'll talk about some news, we'll do some shout-outs here in a sec, and then we'll talk about actual, some of the aliens, some of the reported aliens that possibly live on Mars. And lots of people have had lots of things to say regarding this, and Yeah, so that's what we'll do tonight. So if you guys have comments on this or want to fill in the blanks, that's why we do the show live. That's why we've always done the show live, because it recorded in a vacuum. We can cut out the stammers and the stutters and the ums and the ahs and the things we say incorrectly. But if we do it live, we keep those things, but we get you and your input. So that's why we do it live. So there we go. So we'll do shout outs in a second, then we'll get to aliens and Mars. So we're going to do that tonight. And all right, let's do shout outs. We got Nick gets first, well, unofficial first. Tony gets first on Facebook there, and Nick gets a second. We got Fred, what's happening? We got Tyrone, thanks for showing up. We got Bill King, or Bill, sorry. We got let's see, Elizabeth, happy Thanksgiving all, thanks for showing up. We got Kelly, thanks for being here. We got Masson, I saw a UFO when I was 10, he says. Okay, I'd love to hear about it. Give me a call. Let's see. Kelly says, good evening, Philip. What's up, Mike? Checking in from Southern Oregon. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, if you want to shout out, type where you're from in the chat, where you're listening from, and I'll shout you out. What's up, Larry, Mark? What's happening, DJ? Thanks for being here. And we have Noob Soup. What's happening on Twitch? I'll read that in a sec. That's amazing. We have Larry. We have Juan Carlos on YouTube. And there we go. There we go. That's setting us up to succeed. Thanks for showing up, guys. I know it's a little late. Things happen. This happens. The other thing happens. And yeah, so here we are. But so before we do any of that, actually, let's do this. Yeah, Juan Carlos from like California Bay. What's up, man? So we're starting the show right now, but we're going to do this instead for just a sec. Here we go.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
We have breaking news, and I'm going to report it, as it says right here on Twitch. Big Pasta paid $50,000 toward the destruction of the Syrian capital city, Aleppo, in 2015, leading to the death of thousands and the losing of a document which detailed the construction of the perfect ravioli. The perfect ravioli, known as the Holy Pocket, has since been rumored to have been relocated to Damascus, Greece, where it rests in a small church's basement. Access to said basement has been denied, and any knowledge of the Holy Pocket is similarly shot down. There's your breaking news. I'm not sure what that means, but that was reported by Noob Soup on Twitch. Hey, thanks for that. Whatever that is, that's good stuff. And yeah, the Holy Pocket. Maybe we'll do a show in the future on the Holy Pocket. Okay, so there we go. There's the catching up to the Noob Soup news. Okay, so let's see. Philip says if you Google Earth Mars, you can seriously find structures. No joke. Let's get some photos and talk about them. No problem. What's up, Dylan? Thanks for showing up. And what's up, Larry? Yo, mines. Hello. Okay, so let's get rolling here with some aliens. What do we got here? What do we have? Hold on. So first things first, let's do some news and check this one out. Check this out. So this is reported by ancientcode.com, and here we are. I don't know what the Holy Pocket was, but that was a good breaking news. Okay, so here we are with the this is reported by the Ancient Code, ancientcode.com, and it says 7,000-year-old monument 3 times bigger than Stonehenge discovered in Poland. I was about to say Portland. No, Poland. And the article reads, a huge Stone Age monument has been discovered in Poland, and researchers report the site is 360 feet in diameter, making it 3 times larger than Stonehenge. It is believed the site was used by Neolithic people for at least 250 years, with new features added to it along the way. There's some quotes in here, and here's one of the photographs. I can let's see if I can zoom this in. Open a new tab, and you guys can check it out. There it is. That's how they found this thing. It was somebody hang gliding, I believe. And this was the actual shot of what it looked like when somebody spotted it. I'm not sure why it took so long to spot it, being so obvious. Well, I guess if you're on a hang glider, if you're walking by, maybe not so obvious. But this is how it was discovered. The massive site was first spotted by a paraglider, in 2015. Now, almost 3 years since the site was first located, experts from the University of Gdańsk, Warsaw, and Poznan, holy crap, excuse my French, are gaining new insights into the deeper meaning of the structure by using non-invasive techniques and excavating small areas around the south and west of the site. So, older than Stonehenge, 3 times as large, and let's see, quote, it consists of a central area surrounded by 3 gates that lead to the interior. It then has 4 ditches circling it. Each ditch is larger and deeper than the last, and it appears they were dug at relatively regular intervals. And here's that link if you guys want to check out the actual full screen image yourself. There it is, right there. And there it is. And okay, so then here's what the excavation looks like, and here is what an artist representation of what the thing looks like, or did look like, when it was in its heyday, which looks pretty good to me. So here we go. Here's another one, and this is what it looked like. This is apparently what the thing looked like, and it's clearly some sort of ceremonial mound, or you know, the concentric circle business with a kind of Atlantis thing going on a little bit here. So pretty cool stuff, and here's the link for that if you guys want to check that out. And okay, so Masson, what's up, says the story goes as there was no electricity, so we went down to the street to buy batteries. Wait, what? What are you talking about? The UFO story. Call and tell me about it, man. I want to hear about it, and I'm sure everybody else does too. 702-957-1037 live show. You can join the show tonight and be on the show right now. So there we go. So this is older than Stonehenge, 3 times as large and thousands of years older. And look at that. That's what the artist representation of what it actually looked like when they used it. What did they use it for? That's still to be determined, of course. And everybody has their opinions on the subject here. But pretty good article by Cookies. Don't forget the cookies. By there's a video here. Let's watch part of the video. Let's do that. And action. Okay, so as you can see in that video, which I'll link also, so if you guys can check out the video, but in the video itself, it appears to be right next to some sort of radio tower and right in some sort of crop as well. So why did it take so long to find it? That's what I want to know. But okay, so there we go. Pretty good stuff. They're still finding these things and still trying to figure out what's going on with the ancients. And yeah, maybe it has something to do with aliens. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But there's the article, and you guys can check it out, read it yourself. They're still excavating this and still turning up good information. Good information. So there we go. There's how we start this, and let's read some chat here. Let's see. Thank you, Mark, for sharing to all the groups. I appreciate that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'll read your story there in a minute, Masson. But if you do want to call, do tell, man. If anybody has any sort of anomalous things, you saw some aliens, UFOs, whatever, and you want to, this is a place where you can give us a fake name and have no ridicule and tell us about it. So please do that if you're into that and have seen those sorts of things, and we'd all love to hear it. So okay, there we go. So there's the first one. So we got a 7,000-year-old monument 3 times bigger than Stonehenge, discovered in Poland. Pretty good stuff. Here's another one. Here's the one that I found that was pretty cool, I thought. This is reported by Disclosed TV, and it's from November 26th of this year. That would be what, today? Yesterday? I don't know. I lost the count already. But here you go. Check this out. This is pretty good stuff. 1973 vintage computer predicts the end of the world is starting in 2020. So this is Doom from the Past, a program called World One run on an MIT vintage computer, predicts the end of civilization. The computer was overseen by the director of the World Bank and Club of Rome. Right? The decline leading to the end starts, here we go, so it's got a timestamp and a little bit of the video, and here's a quote. At around 2020, the condition of the planet becomes highly critical. If we do nothing about it, the quality of life goes down to zero. Pollution becomes so serious, it will start to kill people, which in turn will cause the population to diminish, lower than it was in the 1900s. At this stage, around 2040 or 2050, civilized life as we know it on this planet will cease to exist. That fits well with that Agenda 2030, right? Yeah, very well. Okay, so they're talking about population growth. In 1980 it was 4.5 billion people. 2020 it will be 7.6 billion. And the report here states that it would level off around the year 2000, but the population continues to grow. But here we go. Here's the part that's relevant about the end of the world in 2020. Action.
The pollution really takes off. This is assuming, of course, that we don't do anything about it. So the year 2020, the condition of the planet starts to become highly critical. And if we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero. Pollution is going to become so serious, right out here, that it will start to kill people. So the population will diminish. Right back here, less than it was in the year 1900. And at this stage, around about the year 2040, 2050, civilized life as we know it on this planet will cease to exist. Well, hopefully, of course, it won't be allowed to happen. But it's taken this kind of shock treatment to nudge governments into doing something, and slowly we are. We're starting to clean up our atmosphere. We're starting to recycle our rubbish. We're doing something positive about population control. But so far, our efforts have really been just a drop in the ocean. The Club of Rome comprises some 7...
Okay, that's probably enough here. So you guys have the article if you want to check it out. So you notice the little dots on the what was that, like the print matrix? What did they call it back then? So he had the little graph with the dots that really couldn't draw straight lines. 1973 vintage computer, pretty awesome. End of the world 2020, starting in 2020. What do you guys think? Is that yeah? What is that? I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but you check it out. Watch the whole video; it's on there as well. And what the hell? What do you think? Is the world ending? Is this the beginning of the end? I'm not a doomsayer. I'm a positivity type of person, so I don't think that's the case. I think we can overcome whatever they throw at us, unless it's of course an asteroid from wherever they're going to throw it at us. Maybe we can't overcome that if it's big enough. But I think most things, human ingenuity has found a way. I think we can hopefully find a way. So there we go. There's a positive take for the night. If you guys haven't seen this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Speaking of the future. And what's happening in the future here? We have Elon Musk. Elon Musk. We talk about this fellow quite a bit. Why? Because he's always innovating, this guy. He's always shaking things up. He's always disrupting. And here he is doing it again. So he had, if you guys probably saw this, he announced the Cybertruck previously this week, a few days back. And this thing looks nothing less than space age. What the hell is this, right? Like, that doesn't look like it belongs in the year 2019. What is that? That looks like it should be driving on the moon in the year 3500, right? It's got the little ATV in the back that has similar silver plates or stainless steel or whatever this stuff is. Pretty crazy, right? So did anybody see what happened with this truck? Just wanted to point this out if anybody missed this. It kind of went viral a little bit. So I'm not surprised if you actually saw it. But they had they threw a couple steel balls at the window, which were apparently, I said steel balls. They threw a couple steel balls at the window and they broke the windows, which they said the windows were unbreakable. So well, there's some engineering gone wrong. But let's play a little bit of that and see as we get into the rest of this. But here's how the intro started for the what is this? The Tesla Cybertruck. It just sounds weird saying it right. Cybertruck. Yeah, bizarre. Okay, here we go. Let's see what Elon had to say. Right from the horse's mouth action.
Welcome to the Cybertruck unveil. We created an exoskeleton. Nice. Now hit the Cybertruck. Now, what else can we do with this truck? Let's shoot it. That's a 9mm bullet shot at the door. So it's ultra hard, cold rolled stainless steel alloy that we've developed. We're going to be using the same alloy in the Starship rocket and in the Cybertruck. Let's show the glass demo. So first, this is regular glass. This is like normal glass, car glass. We want to show you what happens with normal car glass. Now I'll show you Tesla Armor glass. Yeah.
All right, good enough. So if you want to watch, the suspense continues, and then they actually throw these steel balls. I said it again. Steel, not brass balls, steel balls. They throw them at the truck itself, and the windows actually do crack. So spoiler alert. But some engineering gone awry, so they need to fix that. He said he'll fix it in post, right? Which is post production, of course. But yeah, pretty funny. What do you guys think about that? Has anybody actually signed up to get a Cybertruck yet? Is it? Are you excited about something like this? Are you glad things finally look space age in the year 2020 or whenever this thing comes out? Or is this just another marketing video, another bunch of hype that you're like, yeah, it's like another truck. It's kind of dressed up to be maybe the Mars truck, but it's not the Mars truck. I don't know. I have no idea. What's up, Justin? Yeah, I'm late. I'm late. Yeah, sorry. Late start tonight. Mark says people always bring up years the world will end. I agree. Like Nostradamus was doing it. Everybody been doing it, right? The Book of Revelations. I tell you, these people, the gall these people have to bring up the end of the world. Yeah, just fooling, man. Tamron, what's up? Thanks for being here. Good morning. Justin says it's called population control. By the end, there will be less than 200,000 people on Earth, and that's back to the Georgia Guidestones, right? That's kind of that sort of thing. What's up, Nikki? It sounds like a Kiwi. Who's a Kiwi? Are you a Kiwi? I'm not a Kiwi. Tamron says I have steel balls. What's up, Steve? Thanks for showing up. How you doing? Majestica, thanks for being here. F this guy, she says, or he says, sorry, I pay to assume your gender there. It says Majestica. So there we go. I rest my case. Juan Carlos, it was a bust. You got jokes. These guys got jokes. Okay, let's see. Tamron says I'll buy one when I have to go to Iraq or Mars. It's a good call. Bulletproof. It's hard to beat bulletproof when you go to a war zone. Definitely. Okay. So there we go. There's a Tesla Cybertruck. What do you think? Is it about time that we have engineering that looks like it's from the future, or do you think this is just a little bit too much? It almost kind of looks like the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Remember that, the time traveling thing with the flux capacitor, all that? Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. Linked all the videos if you guys want to check them out. And there we go. But okay, so we got more. Remember, we're going to get to Mars and aliens. So we're just doing news. We're kind of warming up tonight. And if you missed the last show, the last one was about War of the Worlds and life on Mars. So we're going to do more of that. We talked about the possibility of life on Mars in the last show, about how we have methane and oxygen fluctuations with the seasons, which of course is peculiar, let's say, suspicious. But science is still backing off the obvious claim that there's some sort of life there, at least microbial life. And nobody's claiming it. Nobody's really claiming it. Okay, all right. So there we go. That catches us up to that. Now check this out. Hold on. Let's read some chat for a minute. Again, the show's live, so if you guys want to contribute with chat, no problem. I'll read as much as I can. If you want to call, you can do that. 702-957-1037. That is a Las Vegas area code. So do call. You can get on the show and tell me what you think about everything so far, or anything from the last show or previous shows, or request the next show, those types of things. So you just want to call and say hi, feedback, show feedback, all that's good. So really, really great. Majestica says, I'm female. It sucks. Too much intuition burdened with prophetic visions. Okay. All right. So I was correct. I assumed correctly. And I don't feel your pain on the intuition burdened with prophetic visions. But I do have a microphone, and I'm a random dude on the internet, so I have that. Cameron, let's see. Tony says the only thing the truck is good for is to run over zombies. It does look like it kind of belongs in The Walking Dead or something, right? Justin says it's too expensive. So I think it starts at like 47,000, something like that, 49,000. So that's not really too out of line with like the high end, Chevy trucks or Ford trucks. So I wouldn't call that too inexpensive or whatever. Or too expensive. I think that's kind of right in line with where it should be to be priced competitively. Okay, so we got a call. We're going to take this call, and then we're going to keep on trucking with whatever we got here. So good evening. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How you doing tonight? What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Chris. I'm calling from North Georgia.
Chris from Georgia. How you doing, my man? What's on your mind tonight?
Doing just fine. You said to call if we had seen or had any type of encounters before, so this is the first time I've ever actually went public about this encounter.
Okay, fantastic. Let's hear, man.
I lived near a lake growing up on a mountain in Rabun County, which is the northern eastern part of Georgia, the foothills of the Blue Ridge area. I was about 4 years old, and I'd went into the kitchen to make a sandwich. My brother, who was about 6 years older than me, came into the kitchen unannounced to me to pull a prank and shut the lights off. I've never been really scared of the dark or thought about anything like that at that age, and so I continued making my sandwich. The kitchen in our household was on the second story, and at first I thought it was just somebody shining a flashlight through the window. After a few seconds, it kind of stunned me when I seen what I can only describe as like a ball of light. It wasn't like light was really being projected from it, but more like it was, I guess you could say, like matter made of photons. But it came through the glass plate window in our kitchen, and it didn't crack or break or even leave any type of marking on the glass. It floated by me and was about 3 foot from me. And I remember just being stunned. I didn't know how to react. And at that point, I panicked. You know, I didn't know what was going on, so I ran into the living room and tried to tell my parents. But they just wouldn't believe me. And my brother, he saw light in the kitchen. He went in there, but he couldn't find anything. I was kind of wondering if anybody had ever heard about anything like this or had any similar experiences.
We've had lots of people call in with different experiences with UFOs and anomalous stuff like this. I haven't heard anything exactly like this. It almost seems like this might be I hate to classify it as such, but maybe less UFO, maybe more like a paranormal sort of situation, right? So you have people report these orbs all the time in regards to spiritual places where a lot of people have died, like the Battle of Gettysburg, places like this. Interesting. Yeah. So I'm not sure. So what happened after that? So the thing just kind of disappeared, and that was that? Like nobody else really saw it with you?
Yeah, that was about the only time I think I've ever seen, something like that up close. Now, when I was older, I was about 13. A friend of mine and me had snuck out beside the house to smoke a cigarette. And on the way by my house, it's to Turner Field, and we thought it was just the blimp in the sky, going down to the ball game. And we were sitting there smoking, and it was like a door opened in it or something, and a bright orange light dropped out of it, hovered for a second, and took off. And the speed at which it left, it was... I've seen videos of people firing, like, phosphorus rounds and stuff out of guns, and this thing was way faster. Whatever it was, it took off so fast I could barely keep track of it. And the larger white, I guess you could say light, just kind of floated off a little bit, and after, I guess it traveled probably half a mile, it took off as well. But the house I lived at, we was always seeing stuff like that in the sky that we couldn't explain. And I've went on like sightings maps and stuff like that where they record sightings, and I was actually surprised there's almost no sightings reported in that area. And growing up, we constantly had military planes pulling maneuvers over the mountains that we lived on. So I really didn't know what to think about it.
Okay, yeah. So if you're not familiar with that Tom DeLonge thing, To the Stars, and that Tic Tac encounter with the Nimitz, they had those Tic Tac shaped UFOs that moved at tens of thousands of miles an hour and then kind of changed directions in the blink of an eye, this sort of thing. And of course, it was around a military area, military installations, San Diego and Guadalupe Island in particular. It sounds kind of similar, doesn't it? And these are the types of things people report all the time. Yeah, man, I believe you. That's crazy stuff. But so no anything, no actual visitations, anything like that. Any lost time that you can remember? Anything of that particular? Just the sightings.
Actually, that's kind of what worries me. As of late, I went through a traumatic experience about 4 or 5 years ago, and since then I've been having these flashes of, I guess you could explain it as a typical gray standing around my bed. And there was an incident a few years after I saw the light in the sky, I woke up after a night's sleep at about, I guess, 7 o'clock, and my room was filled with smoke. And when I came to, the cover on top of me had literally burnt off of me, and my shirt as well. It was just laying there smoldering on top of me, yet there was no marks on my skin. And there's been other times where I've had naps, during the day, because I'll just suddenly feel exhausted for no reason. At one point where I live now, I woke up in the middle of the day, and I reached my hand up onto the back of the couch I was laying on to sit up. And there on my, I guess you'd say, bird finger, right behind the fingernail, there was like a splotch of, I guess you could say, blood blisters, but it was in a almost perfect triangular form. And I pulled the couch out, looked around and everything, and there is no way I could have scraped my hand or on anything sharp enough to do that kind of damage. And I constantly have pit marks in my skin that, for lack of anything, the doctors can't tell me how they get there or nothing, but it almost looks like holes in my epidermis. And I have these reoccurring dreams where I'm floating on the ceiling looking down at my bed, and there's light coming through the window. And the incident that caused me to have a nervous breakdown was I'd been up for about 14 days straight. I had a severe toothache. I couldn't sleep. One of my ex's friends gave me some skullcap tea, which is a muscle relaxer, to help me sleep. I remember specifically being in the bed. No one else was around me that I could tell, and I couldn't move. And when I looked over to the side of the bed, it was something, it didn't scare me. It was like it was showing itself to me. But it had real dark, wrinkly type skin and long black hair. And the facial features were similar to human, but it was like the skin was really old, like coming off of it. And the eyes, I remember them specifically because it had kind of like a look of curiosity on its face, and its eyes were solid black. And it wasn't long after that I literally started hearing stuff outside the house. I even found a set of what looked like footprints, but it looked, the only way I can describe it, I mean, I know it sounds a little cheesy, but it was kind of like Mewtwo's foot. It had one round ball in the back, a front pad, almost like a human's front pad right before the toes, and then it had two other ball indentions in the front. And when I talked to my neighbor, he said that they had seen something a couple nights prior, that all he could say was it was gray and it ran faster than anything he had ever seen.
Okay.
And there was a couple times I had impressions of, and it was like I guess you'd say a peregrine falcon. And I remember seeing someone running through the woods in what looked like a gray hoodie. And the falcon was following him. It was flying next to him. And it's just, I've wanted to talk about this for a long time, but I really, in my area, there's no one I can really talk to about it. Even my roommate thinks I'm a little off my rocker.
Okay, well, you got a home here, man. We don't judge these type of stories. Majestica on YouTube says, read my comment to him. Tell him I relate to his story. So I think she's intimating that she has some similar experiences. So you're not alone, man. It's and we've had people call in previously. We've been doing the show for a year and a half, and we've had people call with some incredible stories. So the stuff you're saying, hey man, it's out there. Like people say these things happen, and it's happening to. Obviously, you're a perfect example. You can't explain it away, and you have so you do have corroboration on some of the stuff. You have neighbors that looked at some of the tracks and saw grays outside or whatever it was. Maybe not saying aliens, but it was definitely something moving very quickly. Yeah, man, terrifying, all this. So do me a favor, hey. I appreciate the call. If anything happens, or you have updates, or let's say you want to tell the story in full, this is an open forum. So join the Discord. I'll put the link in the chat real quick after you're done on the call here, and join the Discord. And if you want to be on the show for like a full segment, like a full 30 minutes or an hour, we can talk about abduction phenomena and this type of thing, and you can explain how everything happened, and yeah, the kind of spare no details type of stuff. So we can also go into in depth with some questions and this type of thing. So this is why we do it. Again, this is why we do it live, because this is the type of thing that you can't get from anywhere else, because it's all eyewitness accounts that get lost on the internet or don't get reported, or you name it. Like for whatever reason they just don't get out there. So I appreciate the call, man. Anything else before we move on with the show here?
Just this is the first time I actually sat down and watched your show. It was posted on my Facebook, and everybody that lives here at my house is kind of outside, goofing off right now. So I hate to say it, but it's a little nerve-wracking talking about some of this, because there's been moments in my past. One particularly, I was like 5 years old, and 3 people showed up at my house. And I was alone at my house for some reason. I can't really recall why. And they asked me to show them around, in the woods and stuff, so I did. But at the time, it appeared to be my aunt and my grandmother and one of my other aunts. But recently, it's come to my attention that when I try to recall the memory, I get severe headaches, and the image of them is distorted, like it's something. It's kind of like someone frosted a glass and put it over a TV, trying to blot out what I saw. And it's actually got me rather worried, because the activity and everything that's been going on, it's really picked up in my life lately, and it's to the point where I'll spend weeks at a time in my bedroom trying to stay away from everybody, because I don't want other people having to go through what I'm going through. Right. Yeah, that's terrifying. Do join the Discord, man. I'm put the link in, and there's people in there that have similar experiences. So maybe you guys can hook up and talk about this stuff, and maybe find out what helped and these sorts of things, because I don't have any answers for you, unfortunately. I'm here kind of as an open forum asking questions, but have you tried maybe reporting to these UFO sightings to maybe MUFON or the UFO Reporting Center or anything like that? I've tried, but it's, for some reason, my phone always messes up, or the internet suddenly drops service. There's always a reason it just won't go through. And I don't know. It's a little weird, but I've literally watched as my phone would shut off for no reason or turn on for no reason. And a couple times I downloaded programs to scan to see if someone was trying to copy my phone or something. And what popped up, I can't even say if it was a human language or not, but it picked up a signal that was trying to connect to my phone, but the ID that popped up with it was no font or words that I'd ever seen before. Wow. Okay. So we got lots of things going on here. Yeah, and it really picked up in the past few years. When I was 17, it got so bad I tried to kill myself. Well, don't do that. I literally took I took a handful of antidepressants, which really relaxed me until my heart stopped beating. And I had the whole out-of-body experience and the seeing my mom who had passed when I was 2 kind of stuff. And since then, it's like I've been personally isolated from everyone around me. And I was wondering, if maybe they're trying to study those memories or exactly what might be going on. I'm just trying to figure it out. Yeah, like I said, there's some people in our Discord that have had similar encounters, and different, of course, as well. And I think that's the question. We all have the question of exactly what's happening here. We have no idea. We have evidence from people, but everything seems to be slightly different or slightly similar.
and you end up kind of guessing. Yeah, I don't know. And like I've heard, this is some of the things that I've heard in the past when we talk about this, is that if they're the gray aliens in particular, they seem to be fascinated with our consciousness, and so they try and toy with our memories and our mind in different ways, and that's why I asked about the lost time and if that's a possibility. Because and they tend to recur. These visits tend to recur. But let me tell you something. With all that said, we've had a lot of people get through this, and they've been through this, and they've been able to. I don't know if I have any good tips for you, but hang in there, man. Don't despair. This is something that happens to other people as well. You're not alone. And I mean, like I said, get in the Discord. We can talk about this in the future in depth, detail by detail, and. We've got a guy that calls in quite regularly, and he actually tells he's had visitation since he was a young boy, kind of like you said, with 4 years old in the kitchen there. It kind of started when he was very young, and it's kind of stuck to him to the present day, and he's found lots of ways. So yeah, I mean, please do. I'm gonna drop that in the chat. We can't go on all night about this. I apologize. We've got time constraints, but. If you do want to be on the show in the future, it's completely welcome, and we can do, like I said, we'll do a show and talk about particular things, about some of the things like Betty and Barney Hill and some of the actual specific things that happen to people that have been reported over the years, and then maybe some of the things that the people have called in and talked about on some of the previous shows, and we can kind of go detail by detail. There's a lot there, man. Very good stuff. I appreciate the call. You're very brave for calling. Trust me, it's happened to other people, and just like Majestica said in the chat there, she concurs. Things have happened similar. So hang in there, man. Hang in there.
I appreciate it. It's nice to finally be able to talk about some of this.
Yeah. Hopefully that's kind of is the release valve for some of that stress. Get it off your chest, and then again, you know where to find us. So we stream a couple times a week. Follow all the things. Not to do a stupid cheesy plug, but it is a place where you can come talk about this. So appreciate the call. Thank you very much. That's Chris from Georgia. There we go. Who's going to say bye? But okay, there we go. So again, thank you for the call, Chris. That's again a lot there. And Tony says the incredible story this man is telling, and Devin says, "Wow, awesome story." So what's up, Sam? Thanks for showing up, Tamron. I really hope this caller is for real. It seems like it. He didn't seem like he was trolling at all. Usually if people call and they're going to troll, they'll go more and more ridiculous and then tell you they saw like a Nazi sign on the UFO. Like, this guy wasn't anything like that. So I believe you, Chris. Thank you for the call. Hang in there. There are other people that have got through this as well. So there you go. So you guys saw this show is live. This show is live. You can just dial the phone just like Chris did and get on the show and talk about whatever. We're going to continue going, and we're talking about aliens from Mars tonight, and we're going to finish War of the Worlds at the second half of the show, because we started the first half previously in the last show. So we're going to finish that up. But again, so remember, guys, this is always an open forum. If you have this type of stuff you want to talk about, that's what we're here for. Again, why we do it live is exactly that, because we want to hear from you. And not just that, we want people to be able to band together and have some sort of support group and help each other with these sorts of things. So if anybody knows Chris, reach out to him. And if you don't, Chris, I encourage you to join the Discord one more time. I said it 5 times to you. I'm linking it right now for you or anybody else. Get in there. There's a lot of people that know a lot of things, more than me. I'm just a random guy on the internet with a microphone. So there you go. There's the link. Marin says, "Hang in there, dude. You're not alone in the universe." And I agree. What's up, Marin? Thanks for being here. Nikki says, "Thanks for sharing. I had the same experience as a 3-year-old in the middle of the night. Climbed out of my cot, walked in the kitchen, and was stunned by a bright light through the window. The paranormal and alien blend for me." So yeah, right. So you can't really nail it down as one thing or the other, but it was definitely anomalous. Justin, what's up? Says, "I seen a creature outside my house a while back, looked like an alien demon and scared the hell out of me and my daughter." And Kelly says, "What do you mean, demon?" What's up, Jean Francois? How you doing? Hi, guys. Yeah, I agree. He sounds legit. Thanks for the call, Chris. Very good stuff. Okay, so let's keep on going. If you guys have similar stories and you want to relate to Chris there, do call. You guys know how to do it, 702-957-1037. That is a Vegas area code, and there it is. Okay, let's keep on moving with the show. So we've got, this one is reported by truthseeker.co.uk, and check this out. this is standard, right? Like this is where we live. This is the technocracy in this day and age. The headline reads, let's see, are we full screen? Are we full screen? Let's see. Yes, we are. Headline reads: Tech giants Tech giants now memory holding facts they want to erase from your consciousness. This is reported by Mike Adams, Natural News, November 21st, 2019, and it goes like this. If you use Google, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, you are not living in the real world. You're living in an artificially constructed psychofabrication that's engineered by the tech giants to isolate you from actual knowledge. Well, let that sit in the air for a second. He continues, the goal of the tech giants, simply stated, is to obliterate human knowledge and enslave humanity under endless layers of engineered disinformation and propaganda that makes humans easier to control or kill, in parentheses, as the climate activists are now demanding with their depopulation agenda, which goes back to that story about the end of the world starting in 2020. Let's see. Good stuff here. So I did link this, and he continues further down. But I wanted to highlight this as we go. So he's talking about memory holing. If anybody doesn't know the term, it's 1984, George Orwell. The memory hole was something where when they worked at the Ministry of Truth, which I like to call Wikipedia, of course, for the modern day Ministry of Truth. But he actually worked in the Ministry of Truth in the novel 1984, and so he would get these pieces of history that he would have to rewrite, and then so they would give him a piece, and they would say his instructions were to rewrite it with this particular thing, or this detail, or omit that detail, or add this, or whatever. He had to change history basically, and then when he was finished, the new version would get updated, go back into the system itself, and the original piece of paper that he received would get dropped into what was called a memory hole, and it would, of course, be deleted forever. So that was memory, not just memory, but knowledge being redacted from humanity. And this is kind of a good point. A good site here, truthseeker.co.uk, and I want to show you something real quick. So I was looking at this, and so I was doing some cursory searches tonight, of course, and yesterday, as looking at aliens from Mars, because that's the theme of the show here tonight, which we'll get to shortly. But check this out. So if you go to Google and you search, here it is, reptilian alien. So you get two autocompletes: reptilian alien name generator and reptilian alien TV show. That's what you get, right? That's Google, straight off of Google, right? If you go, which of course is one of the main memory holders, the technocracy, the people we always talk about. All right, they're actually obviously and actively trying to change your mind and brainwash you and tell you what they want you to believe history is and what everything is. Okay, so then check this out. DuckDuckGo is a search engine, but they don't track you. They don't sell what do you call them? Ads, personalized ads. You can't log in. None of this stuff. It's just a search engine, right? So you type in reptilian alien to DuckDuckGo, and look what happens. So it actually says reptilian aliens living underground, reptilian alien photos, alien species, reptilian alien interview, reptilian alien video YouTube, reptilian alien sightings, reptilian right on and on, reptilian alien theory, and that's just like the top 10 there. So yeah, I think what do you think? I think there's definitely something to this, and what's going on there. It is the memory hole. Like the technocracy is our modern day memory hole, and it's terrifying to me. Pretty crazy stuff. What's up, Emin? Thanks for showing up. I've completely transitioned into DuckDuckGo. Yeah, I believe you. Reptilian, like in V-Series. Yeah, exactly. You'd figure if you type reptilian alien, at least you get like the V-Series, right? The old one from like the 80s, or like even the newer one. But you don't get any of that. It just says whatever it says, right? Whatever they want to tell you. What's up, Michelle? What's up, Martin? Thanks for showing up, guys. Steve says, I miss climate control, Greta. How dare you? She's a time traveler now, you know. What's up, Martin? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, Kelly says, I'll be using DuckDuckGo. I'm telling you, you can't find anything if you search on Google. Google is, it is what it is. Okay, so hold on. All right, so we got a couple more that we're going to get to. Again, so this show's live. If you guys want to have comments on the show, you want to talk about any of the sorts of things that are alien, or show feedback, or suggest a show for the future, or whatever. Any of the things we talked about, the Tesla Cybertruck, or the 7,000-year-old Stonehenge they found, any of this, or anything else, we're here for you. 702-957-1037, you call, I'll pick up the phone, and you can be on the show. Okay, a couple more things, and we're gonna get where are we time wise? Actually, we're a little deep, so we're gonna skip the rest of this, the news, and we're gonna go into aliens because we've got to get through the rest of War of the Worlds tonight. So check this out. Let's here's the transition from the news and from what's happening to actual aliens. So remember, a couple shows back, we talked about a particular individual, a scientist, that he claims there's bugs on Mars. He actually had evidence that he cited from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and the rovers that are up on Mars, and they sent him back. And let's watch this. Let's watch this video and see if this is any good. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't watched this particular video. If it sucks, we'll kill it. But this is what's going on here. This is exactly what's happening. So the Space.com reports it's still not aliens. Mars bug claim could damage the search for life. And check out this subheadline. It takes away the excitement from our real discoveries. Oh, I see. So it's all about them. It's all about what, NASA? It's all about official sources, per usual, right? You can't have any outliers because they don't march to the tune. They don't fit the narrative. Anyway, here we go. Let's play this and see what this looks like. Let it play. Come on, play. You can do it. Okay, it's not going to play. Okay, so an Ohio scientist claims to have found photographic proof of insect and reptile-like life on Mars. Let's see, but the researchers say, of course, it's not aliens. And here's a photograph. You can check it, see it right there on the screen. He's got some actual. He points to the leg, the compound eye, the thorax, the abdomen. We talked about this a couple shows back, but of course, this is an article shitting on that because that's what they do, right? And he says there's apparent diversity among the Martian insect-like fauna, which display many features similar to Terran insects that are interpreted as advanced groups. For example, the presence of wings, wing flexion, agile gliding / flight, and variously structured leg elements, this individual says. And he's got exact, he circled the insect, he gives you the rover track, he gives you the timestamps on all this stuff, and he wrote a paper where he talked about these things, and it's a couple shows back, you can find all that information. But of course, the media machine spins in and says, now, if you really squint at these images and have already read that something else looks like they look like insects or reptiles, you might think they look like insects and reptiles too. But according to David Madison, a professor of the Integrative Biology Department at Oregon State University, this proof is likely just an example of pareidolia. Yeah, that's right. A phenomenon in which people see patterns in random data. So, of course, right? And back to the old standard, pareidolia. He continues, I personally have pareidolia with respect to insects, beetles in particular, Madison told Space.com. I've worked on beetles for decades. I have collected many thousands of beetles around the world. Through the years, I have built my brain a pattern recognition system for picking out beetles. Okay? And, of course, so, on and on and on, blah, blah, blah. There's no aliens here. Did I link it? Yeah, I linked it. What's up, Yo TV Streams? How you doing, buddy? I see you there on D Live. How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, you crazy. What's up, Dale? Thanks for being here. Garth, wait, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, aliens. Here we go. So of course, Space.com says this could actually damage the search for alien life. So I guess us just talking about the possibility that this guy could be right is damaging the future search, right? So the search itself is, of course, in no danger. Anybody with any common sense realizes that. They just want the media blitz for themselves, right? And so does that seem? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So the harm that dubious claims can cause. So he says when we have this kind of sensationalist headline, it's really hard for the public to know whether or not this is true. Lanza said, "It seems legitimate. It's coming from Ohio University. These are real institutions, and so when we actually find something on Mars and beyond, if we do that, it will be less of an impact. People keep hearing we've already found life on Mars." And right, have we? Now this was 6 days ago, right? This is brand new. But let's see. So we got to skip a couple of these because we went a little bit long. Thanks for that great call there, Chris. Okay, so let's go back to the 70s and Scientific American. Check this out. So not only is this guy claiming there's life on Mars now, and he has photographic proof, he says, of beetles or these sorts of things. Check this out. Scientific American, an opinion posted by Gilbert V. Levin on October 10th, 2019. I'm convinced we found evidence of life on Mars in the 1970s. The labeled release experiment on a Viking mission reported positive results, although most have dismissed them as inorganic chemical reactions. And I'm not going to read a bunch of this because, like I said, we're a little bit behind here. But I did link it if you guys want to check it out. And this is what's going on right now. Like, is this propaganda? Is this counter propaganda? Like, what the hell's actually happening here? Are people allowed to have these opinions, or are they not allowed to have these opinions? Because they certainly seem to flood a ton of information for and against it when something like this comes out. Now, for instance, this was October, right? But look at all this new stuff. Here we go. Here's another one. Alien life was found on Mars in the 1970s. Former NASA scientist claims that's the sun.co.uk. One of our favorite UK tabloids, of course. One of the largest in the world, I believe. But here it is. There we go. And so there we go. So that's backing up the paper that we just saw. Now, check this out. We have, of course, NASA denies alien life discovered on Mars in the 1970s. So it's like this battle of propaganda, right? It's like anything else. If you look up GMOs, or you look up what would you look up? Chemtrails? What else would you look up? Anything that seems the fluoride in the water, any of this stuff, right? Whether it's true or not, there sure seems to be a ton of propaganda and anti-propaganda, counter-propaganda against this, and for it. And so it makes me suspicious as hell. I hope it makes you suspicious as well, because this is the type of stuff that it's called data dumping. And this is what they do to throw people off the trail of what's actually real and what's actually not. So we have again, so this guy says there was life on Mars. NASA says no. This one says NASA chief says we are close to finding life on Mars, but the world won't be ready for it. This is October 2nd, 2019. Published around the same time that other guy published his 1970s life on Mars bit. So there's a lot here, right? Like you get all this propaganda, and this is NASA chief scientist Jim Green that's in the article here. And what are they saying? What are they trying to say? He says, I mean, we live in a time where a insignificant chunk of people still claim to believe the Earth is flat. So finding alien life on another world is sure to come with its own host of conspiracy theories and true believers spouting whatever it is they truly believe. And of course, right? That means you're wrong. That means you're wrong. That means you're a conspiracy theorist, right? They malign you. They malign me for trying to think independently, for trying to realize that they're dumping propaganda down our throat day and night, 24 hours a day. And then for us to be suspicious, what are we? We're conspiracy theorists. And it's disgusting. You see what they do at the lefty-righty games, Fox News, CNN, they're all calling each other conspiracy theorists, right? Because they're prescribing to one particular viewpoint or narrative. So, yeah, it's not hard to see what's really going on here. Pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so let's go to life on Mars. Let's go to life on Mars real quick. What's up, Travis? Thanks for showing up. Let's see. Steve says, I'm wondering if there's life on Earth. That's a hell of a question, man. Dale says, no intelligent life anyway. Elizabeth says, the more they say not, the more it seems true. But again, right, they sure flood out both. Like, oh, here's life. Oh, here's not life. There's a ton. If you look it up, it's pretty crazy stuff. Let's see. Neo TV, what says, by a shadow of a doubt, we have high-ranking officers and scientists on Mars doing black ops missions with off-world beings, and have probably established many mining bases. And that's the secret space program, right? Randy Kramer. We'll talk about that in a sec. Majestica says, anything more intelligent than us is evil because we're like their pets, you know. Humans get their pets fixed and declawed. It's cruel, but we're intellectually superior to animals, so we do it anyway. So you think they're doing that same sort of thing to us? Yeah. I don't know, Jean-Francois, sorry, I can't say it, intelligent life on Mars. That's a good question. Life on Mars? I think most probably at this point with the methane and the oxygen that we talked about in the last show. But what type of life? What form of life? Is it microbes? Is it intelligent? Who knows? I think that's the next step. Pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, exactly. Steve says, obey, Mike. I agree. Yeah, nope, not doing it. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is reported by pbs.org. Check this out. This is pretty cool. This is where they try and tell you what life should look like on Mars, right? And so here it is. This is a little Mars quiz. So let's take this. I haven't done this because I want to do it live on the stream here. Let's make sure we're full screen. Make sure we're good. Okay, we're good. All right. So you can go to. Okay, so according to Hagen's vision, varieties of zooplankton thrived and provided food for larger and more complex species. Sponges appeared first with very simple cell types, and followed by Martian metazoa. So they're trying to say that this is how life on Mars would have evolved, right? Of course, they're basing this on life on Earth, what they know from that. So here we go. So we're going to guess. So here it is. Designs of alien life, the Mars quiz. Which of these shallow water-dwelling creatures represents an unusual symbiosis between photosynthetic algae and Martian animal life? And they have on the left side the umbrella sponge, which appears to be, well, what do you know? It looks like a flying saucer. And then the other one, a green star, which looks like maybe like a starfish with maybe fur or spikes or tentacles or something like this. So let's, I don't know, what do you think? Type in the chat if you can see it. What should we vote? The umbrella sponge or the green star? What looks more likely to... Which of these shallow water-dwelling creatures represents an unusual symbiosis between photosynthetic algae and Martian animal life? I'll wait for you guys to type. What's up, Chris? I feel better talking about it. Thank you. More than words can say. I appreciate the call, man. Very, very good stuff. Yeah, which one is which? I'm gonna go with the green star because it's like a starfish that's the furry. I don't want to wait for the chat. Let's see. What's up, Michael? Thanks for showing up. Got some news from Frank. Okay, let's hear it. Insect and reptile life, says Neo TV. Okay, let's. We're gonna go with the green one, green star. All right, so there we go. Correct. You choose the green star. Green star's most unusual feature is the thick fur-like covering on its back under magnification. Each strand of the fur is seen to be slender cilia of gelatinous tissue that is densely packed with photosynthetic algae. The algae converts sunlight. Blah blah. Okay, next question. All right, so this is people trying to say what life should look like on Mars. All right, so we have now the which creature pumps water through a body cavity and extracts zooplankton through a mucus net. So Tharsis troopers on the left here and bull traps. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all this because I don't know how long it is, but I'm going to pick bull traps real quick. Actually, Tharsis troopers looks pretty cool, so let's pick that instead. And hey, I'm correct again. Look at that. The Tharsis troopers swim by whipping their tails and filtering water and zooplankton through a body cavity at their hip. The solitary trooper reproduces asexually to produce a broader mass chain. Okay, anyway, so I've linked this if you guys want to take this. This is what scientists have postulated life would look like on Mars under particular, would you say, environmental circumstances. Okay, so that's what these are. And they're kind of asking you to think along with them and maybe choose the right organism, right? Okay, anyway. So there we go. So there's life on Mars, and so we have methane, we have oxygen. It comes and goes. It grows and shrinks with the seasons, which is very, very, very indicative of life. Very much like here on Earth, like we have the seasons. We have things come and bloom, and then they go out. In the fall, the leaves fall off, type of thing, and they kind of go into a semi state of not really hibernation, but something to that effect, like a halfway hibernative period where they wait for the sun to come out again, right? The whole deal. So these cyclical things point to those things happening on Mars, whether it's some sort of microbes or something else, something larger, something greater. Fred says starfish. I agree. What's up? Yeah, starfish. Okay, green starfish. Chris says photosynthesis. Would say green star. There we go. So if you guys like this and you want to take the rest of this quiz, go ahead. Probably no time to finish it up on this show, but. Yeah, let's see. That wasn't me. There's a guy named Michael Strange on YouTube that's not me, but he says he's got news on Frank, but it's not me, so he probably can't have news on Frank. So unless he really has it. Okay. So anyway, so here's a couple of things before we get into War of the Worlds, and maybe if there was intelligent life on Mars, and if they came after us, what that would look like. We did that radio broadcast in pieces last time. We're going to finish that up with the second part and see how that ends. Kind of a fun way to look at life on Mars and maybe how it would interact with us, either ignore us entirely, be unintelligent, or be the other end of the spectrum, be intelligent and be a threat. So we'll do that in a sec, but let me spin through a few more of these. Let's see, what else do we got? So the CIA who viewed life on Mars, CIA spy. So let's watch part of this. This is It Might Be Possible. This is a great new channel. Nobody's heard of them yet because I just found them 323 subs, just 1,000 views on this video, whatever. Let's watch part of this. So this is what we talked about. This is Project Stargate. It was a controversial CIA program for developing psychic spies. Their primary targets were often Soviet military bases, but in a few cases they witnessed events that were literally out of this world. So let's watch a little bit of this. So this was a guy that was remote viewing, and he saw Mars 1 million years ago. So let's watch part of this and set this up. I'll finish it up because we can't watch all of it. I am linking it, so if you want to watch the whole video, please do, but here we go, action.
A CIA operative reported for duty to a small room deep within Fort Meade, Maryland. He sits down at a desk across from his partner and closes his eyes. A sealed envelope sits on the desk between them. After a quick prompt, the man begins describing images. A large yellowish pyramid sitting in some sort of depression. The environment was ravaged by an unknown geologic event. If there was any life in this place, it seems to have disappeared a long time ago. His partner instructs him to go back to a time before the catastrophic event. Eyes still closed, he struggles to describe megalithic structures, smooth and architecturally exacting. He still sees no living presence, but only what he describes as the shadow of people, very tall, thin. It's as if they were there, and they're not there anymore. Go back to a period of time when they are there, his partner says. From here, the man describes an enormous obelisk, strange intersecting roads and aqueducts, more pyramids, and other extraordinary structures. He eventually locates the tall, thin beings sleeping within one of the pyramids. Surprisingly, he is able to communicate with them. They're ancient people. They're dying. It's past their time. He tells a fragmented story describing the destruction of the tall being's environment, which somehow involves a comet or similar cosmic event. A small group of them went off to find a new place to live, as their current planet has become uninhabitable. The beings sleeping in the pyramid are waiting for the search party to return, hopeful they might find a suitable new planet to call home. For roughly an hour, the CIA operative explores this strange alien world through closed eyes. He has participated in hundreds of similar viewings, though typically his targets are of the more terrestrial sort: clandestine military bases, submarines, and other matters of national security.
Okay, of national security. So there we go. There's the first couple minutes, and that's a fantastic rundown of what Operation Stargate or Project Stargate was. And so it was remote viewing, and so he was normally looking into normal like terrestrial espionage stuff, like they said, Russian bases, all this other things, right? Like more useful to the military. However, then they, of course, as part of a way to maybe troll him, they gave him it's a double blind thing. They give him a thing in an envelope that says Mars 1 million years ago, these coordinates, and he finds himself there, and that's some of the things that yeah. So there's one aspect of possible life on Mars. Now this guy says that this remote viewer, he's got a name and stuff. We're not going to go into that. We'll do an entire show where we do just the Stargate project. We touched on it a little bit back in the Stargate episode way back, but it was very brief like this. But here's an example. Tall beings, he said, right? And they were in pain. There was some sort of cataclysm, and they were trying to get off the planet. So interesting, pretty good stuff there. So we got more ESP, espionage, and some other stuff. Project Pegasus. Probably don't have time to get into that right now tonight, because we're going to finish up War of the Worlds. But if you're new, and we have a lot of new people here, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sharing, guys. Thanks for all that stuff, spreading the word. If you do enjoy this, of course. Well, actually, let me just press this button, and we'll have a word from our sponsor, which is of course me, or our sponsor's me. So here we go. If you're enjoying this stuff, here we go. We're gonna play this, and then we're gonna go straight to World of the Worlds, and actually we'll do some reptilians and some other aliens from Mars real quick before we do that. But here we go. Listen to this. Listen to this. Are you enjoying the conversation? Do you like talking about all things aliens, conspiracy, and paranormal? Well, if so, thank you. And also, we need your help. As you are probably aware, the technocracy, the government, major corporations, and anybody with a ton of money needs to control the narrative. Otherwise, they cannot control your mind. And as a result, free speech, independent thought has become the devil, the opposition. And of course, anybody that knows anything realizes that notion is absurd. The individual decides what they want for themselves, not from the collective. And pay attention to the media and ask yourself, which are they telling you to prefer? Now, I ask for help. The way you can help this conversation continue is by spreading the word. And it's really easy. You can spend just a few seconds of your time. Go to troubledminds.org, that's the official website, and find the iTunes link and leave us a review. All right, I'll kill it. So there we go. You get the picture, right? So this is the conversation, and it continues. So we touch on a lot of these things, which we can go deeper into, and we will in the future. If you go back and look at the archive, go to troubledminds.org. Like I just said in my nice recording there, there's tons of stuff. We've talked about Marines on Mars. We've talked about you name it. We've talked about time travel, on, and we're going to continue to talk about those things because those are the things that are relevant. Those are the things that the news cycle should include, and they don't. Just like they don't include healthcare and a lot of the crap that they should, right? It's in shambles, right? That like impeach instead, right? This is the crap that's going on. So not to get political, everybody relax. I'm just saying, listen to the way the news cycles do things and what they do tell you and why they tell you that and not the other things that are very obvious and very pertinent in my opinion. Okay, so what's up, Ben? Thanks for showing up. Elizabeth says, loved the first part of the War of the Worlds. Caught the Sunday replay. Great show. Thank you. Well, you're about to hear the second part. Thanks, Elizabeth. Appreciate that. What's up, Paul? Thanks for showing up. I saw you penny up there. Sorry I didn't shout you out when you came. Let's see. Larry, how many trees have been destroyed by fire? That's a hell of a question. I have no idea. Was that like a riddle? Paul says it's cold and wet here in Winslow, England. It's cold and almost wet here in Vegas for finally once. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna real quick. We'll talk about just because we're short on time. Hell, we can go late. Fuck it, it's our show. We do what we want here. So let's here we go. So here's some. Let's hear what David Icke has to say about the different types of aliens. David Wilcock. Well, wow. Okay, so here I'm linking this, and you guys can check this out. We're going to play this right now, and this is what's happening. These are the opinions of actual aliens that could live on Mars or actually walk among us. So let's see what he has to say. Action.
Okay, ETs. Bottom line, most of them, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are human. We have been severely misled. We hear words all the time like aliens and creatures, and we take it for granted that we're dealing with something fundamentally inhuman. Nothing could be further than the truth. What we're actually dealing with is that the universe itself is sentient, the galaxy is programmed to create biological life, and that biological life will be hominid in our galaxy. It will have a head, it will have eyes, nose, mouth. There's very few that don't. It will have 2 arms, 2 legs, opposable thumbs, all that kind of stuff. I do have one insider who has personally handled over 2,000 different types of extraterrestrial bodies. And his job was basically just to autopsy them and try to identify organ systems. So I have a lot of different descriptions of what different types of ETs look like. And I can tell you that probably the most divergent one that he ever saw was kind of like a jellyfish hominid, and it basically had no real discernible facial features. The body looked like clear gel, except for a spot in the head and a spot in the middle of the chest. And when he autopsied it, he wasn't able to identify anything resembling an organ system. It was all just gel. But most of the beings that are out there are human-like or actually human-looking. And in fact, we have been visited by multiple human groups, and they all have tinkered with our DNA. We are like a genetics wonderland. Our DNA has been spliced and respliced and tinkered with so many different races. There's actually 40 different extraterrestrial groups, most of whom are human or human-like, and some of which look just like people on Earth. There's one group that looks exactly.
Okay, he goes on. Again, I've linked this if you guys want to check it out. It's a 16-minute video, and he's talking about all the things that we love to talk about. So what do you think? Do you think, he said 2,000 types of aliens. He's got an insider that's actually handled corpses or bodies of these things, or who knows, he didn't really specify if they're alive or not. Yeah, but 2,000 different types, and 40 different groups that are humanoid, look human, can pass for human, and have tinkered with our DNA. Pretty crazy stuff, right? So looking through some of this, I turned up through, of course, not through Google, because you search Google, you don't get shit. But through DuckDuckGo, you find some other things, right? Some interesting things, like an actual search engine that you search particular topics and you get information on. So here we go. This is Above Top Secret, and there's some good information on this site, and many of you are familiar with this. We've talked about this site from time to time. About linking it right here. And title, The Reptilians and Insectoids Walk Among Us. And so this kind of goes back to Mars and Randy Kramer, the Marine on Mars, where he talked about specifically there were two native Martians, he said, the reptilians and the insects, the insectoids, and they actually fought. And there was a treaty, and the Marines that were up there, and it was a whole mess. You can go back and listen to that show. We did that show, episode 7, way back. So we do have that, troubleminds.org. It's on the website. It's also on the YouTube channel. You can find all the links there. Pretty good stuff. So we're not going to go into that too much. But here we go. This is the top of the forum post here by Blockula on Above Top Secret. It says the reptilians and insectoids are advanced and highly evolved species of dinosaur like the velociraptor, an insect like the mantis, or an ant, who escaped the Yucatan doomsday asteroid 65 million years ago by going literally underground and into the oceans, where they have entire civilizations and bases, places we cannot go, and they are what we call the demons of hell. Okay, that's heavy stuff. So do check it out. Well, there's the link. You can check that stuff out, and there we go. I mean, do you believe that stuff? I don't know. Here's another one. Alien Races Extraterrestrial.blogspot. And of course, where did I find this? Not on Google, because you can't, because it's been delisted. It's been dropped in the index to how many millions down? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to count. But because this is the type of thing where they don't want to. Now this is the thing, right? Think about it this way. If they don't want us talking about this, why? If it's completely frivolous and this is stupid, right? Doesn't it really make you think and wonder? Well, if it was dumb, like okay, search flat Earth, for instance. You're going to find a bunch of shit indexed in Google, right? Not to say flat Earth is dumb, but I'm saying that I think it's some sort of a disinfo campaign to discredit conspiracy theorists. That's my opinion currently, but you can find it. You search Google, like it's all over the place. You search YouTube, that shit is all over the place. But somehow you search for reptilian aliens from Mars, and it's been de-indexed. It's been dropped a million places down. So right, like these are the types of things I'm saying. You end up kind of reading between the lines of what they want you to see and what they don't want you to see, and what's the harm? If literally aliens are just a frivolous, stupid thing, and they don't exist, and it's the dumbest thing to ever think of, then why would they try and hide it? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. And it's happening. It's happening in real time. Go check it out on YouTube. Go check it out on Google. You can find it yourself. Go search yourself, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so here we go. So as reported by this, did I link it? I did link it. Yep. Okay. So alien races. I search and study the most exotic alien species using various sources of my personal knowledge. This individual says that owns the blog, and they say there's two types of Martians. Martian aliens. A source says that there were and maybe still two alien races on Mars long before humans appear on Earth. Those left alive and had to leave the planet Mars. Now, doesn't that kind of fit in with the Farsight thing, the remote viewing of Mars a million years ago? They had to leave Mars. They came here. It continues. Fortunately, their species did not completely disappear. They still exist, but they don't live on Mars anymore. Human Martians. Human Martians look pretty much like the humans. Their skin is thick and orange. The noses are flat and wide and do not seem to contain any cartilage like human noses do. They have small almond-shaped eyes that are brown all across except for some whites on the sides. They have no color irises nor any black pupils, just a medium chocolate brown, which covers most of their small Asian-looking type eyes, they say. Okay, they have brown hair on their head and with ears which perhaps resemble human ears. Again, I've linked this if you want to check more of it. There's one. The other, okay, so the history is the Martian people were attacked by reptilians and had to leave Mars because the Martians were and are still mining. So the reptilians might have seen Martians as a competitor for rare minerals. All right, so then they have the second type that they list as actually living on Mars, and these are native Martians, the salamander Martians. The description goes like this. The Martian salamanders have black bodies and their eyes are also black. They have somewhat of a protruding snout, and they are many small sharp teeth in both upper jaw and lower jaw. Probably they have a tail. They walk on two legs and have two arms with which they can carry items. They wear dark clothing with at least part purple coloration. And so there we go. I did link this if you want to check it out. So, and this actually sticks with Randy Kramer and his Marine on Mars and the rest of that business, because he said that there was a fight between the actual native Martians, which are reptilians, and the other types, which was he didn't say they look like that, but it was reptilians and insectoids. He said he was fighting over there, and then there was us. The people were up there as a third army, and there was a treaty between the three, a non-combat treaty sort of thing. So anyway, there we go. So we have some corroborating evidence, right? Whether you believe the sources or not, things seem to line up a little bit, and the CIA thing with Mars a million years ago, the cataclysm on Mars, they had to leave. They came somewhere. Where would they come? If they were on Mars and it was just being destroyed, where would they go? Yeah, exactly. They would probably come here. Okay, so the world is controlled by a group of elite reptiles. I'm going to link this. Let's see. This person says Obama's a reptile alien. I'm not going to press that. That's I thought it was pretty funny that somebody said that, so I thought I'd talk about it. All right, and here's another one. As reported by CNET, I'm going to link this. I won't link those other ones. You can find that other stuff if you want to find that other stuff, because I don't want to encourage Obama as an alien. But, people are saying that. So here we go. CNET, alien life on Mars may have emerged earlier than life on Earth, study says. Oh, wow. More of this. Here's the mantis aliens from Gaia, of course. Okay, here we go. So we got mantis, we got the humanoid type looking, and we got the reptilians, which supposedly have come from Mars. Okay, so this is from Gaia.com, which is a fantastic website. Mantis aliens are perhaps the most mysterious and unsettling of all extraterrestrial creatures. These beings appear with many abduction scenarios, with abductees reporting the ominous presence of these entities looming over their beds as they wake in the dead of night. While the mantis is not as widely reported as the gray or Nordic alien, which might be that native Martian, maybe not, who knows, it still holds an important role with many extraterrestrial contact scenarios. So there's more of it here. There's a ton, there's tons of this stuff. If you want to find it, go to DuckDuckGo. Don't go to Google. You'll find this stuff. Okay, so here we go. Galactic Connection, praying mantis insectoids, and the gray humanoids. So what do you think? What do you guys think? So I guess I'll pose the question to you. So to me, it seems apparent that there's life on Mars, right? The methane, the oxygen has suggested this is the case. Scientists are backing away from it. They don't want to actually claim this could be true because, of course, it puts a hole in everything. They don't want to, in case they've been covering these things up with secret space programs and NASA and the rest of this, right? So NASA is the front face of the secret space program. It's like the public relations portion of the secret space program, right? You have the back end, which is the black ops and clandestine, and you have NASA, which cuts off their feed when UFOs fly in front. So there's that. Steve says flat Earth is fascinating. Nikki says, I've heard of others talk of race made of mostly water and gel, like drawings of their planet are very reflective and beautiful. On Mars, you mean? I haven't heard that. Let's see. Paul says, is Frank no longer with us? Yeah, for the time being. Edmund says, I think these entities are offspring between actual animals and the fallen angels. They are here in different dimension/frequency and not from space. And I kind of agree with you in many senses there, because if it's not Mars, if it's not very close, then space is a very, very, very vast place. And so, as we know, traveling even at the speed of light is very slow in universal terms. And so I would think that there's some sort of I agree, Emin is Spook from Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, that's the kind of smart people you get in Discord. So there we go. I'm going to drop the Discord link one more time. If you guys haven't actually joined it, do it. All kinds of good stuff, all kinds of good people in there. Okay, so that's where we're at. So we got all kinds of possible aliens that have been reported by different sources. Of course, everybody's going to deny this. Science denies this. The technocracy denies this. The government denies this. Academia denies this. All of the things, all of the people, like the mainstream media denies this. Every single institution that wants us to believe their version of history, their version of everything, of course they deny this. Because maybe let's say it's a farce. Fine. If it's no threat whatsoever, why do you de-rank it in Google to the very bottom of the index? Explain that. Please tell me. Go ahead. I challenge you. Search reptilian alien in Google and see how many times you got to go down before you finally find something that actually talks about this type of theory. So yeah. Okay. So let's. So now life. There's life on Mars, right? There's a lot more. I got tons more links. We had tons more to get into. We're a little bit long, so we got to get to War of the Worlds. So we're going to do that. But again, this show is about you. So if you guys are listening to this and you have stories you want to talk about, again, you call and say hi, show feedback, you want to talk about War of the Worlds, you want to talk about whatever, we're doing this. This is what we do. This is why we do it live. We want to include you. So do call 702-957-1037. Going to put the phone number up, and you can join the show that way. You can join the Discord, which I just linked, and you can there we go. Lots of ways to do it. So for now, we're going to get into War of the Worlds, and we're not going to just play it. We're going to play clips. So we'll be able to stop and pause and talk about things as they happen. And if you have you want to call in and talk about the broadcast itself, last episode we postulated a little bit, and I'll lead into where we're at, so you're not lost if you're just picking up this show, not the last show. But we postulated a little bit about maybe this was a very early CIA psychological operation to maybe work with what's his name, Orson Welles, to I almost said George Orwell. No, Orson Welles to maybe gauge how the public would react to some sort of alien invasion, or was it just do you think it was merely just a creative audio drama? So there's that. So here we go. Just do it. What's up, Justin? Just do it. Just do it, he says. All right, so here we go. So we're going to lead in. So this is how it happened, War of the Worlds, from the first part, from the last episode. It started like this. It was very innocuous. It was a radio show. They were playing musical interludes and this sort of thing. And then they cut into the show and said, we've got breaking news. And we're going to talk about, and we have a hydrogen gas flowing from Mars at a high velocity. And so they cut to some astronomers, some professional astronomers, of course, and these people are all actors. And they're saying that, well, it's very unlikely there's life on Mars, but I can't really explain the hydrogen blasts that are coming towards Earth. And then it continues like this. And so then they go from Yale, they go to these big-name universities with big-name professors, which, of course, are all fake because they're actors and they don't want to get sued. And then they continue with the story until there's an actual crash landing on Earth, okay? And it actually crashes on somebody's farm. They're on the scene with the reporting, and then these black tentacle things climb out of this whatever thing that has crashed. And so the military's arriving, the cops are there, and there's a fight starts, like an actual interstellar, intergalactic, interplanetary, whatever you want to call it, fight begins in this radio drama, okay? And then then it continues. So then we have not just one place; it's happening in different places, and we have these large metallic things that are starting to attack the rest of the East Coast. This is in New Jersey specifically. All right, so then we have the military starting to fight back, and that's kind of where we leave off. So let's continue there. Like Justin said, just do it. Here we go. So that's if you want the first part of that, do go back and listen to the last episode. Pretty good stuff in my opinion, because well, it's Orson Welles. It's amazing. So here we go. Action. This is where it picks up. So we have the military flying in planes, bombers, trying to attack these aliens and fight back. Action.
This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field. Come in, please.
This is Langham Field. Go ahead.
8 Army bombers in engagement with enemy tripod machines over Jersey Flats. Engines incapacitated by heat ray. All crashed. 1 enemy machine destroyed. Enemy now discharging heavy black smoke in direction of...
This is Newark, New Jersey. This is Newark, New Jersey. Warning. Poisonous black smoke pouring in from Jersey marshes. Reaches South Street. Gas masks useless. Urge population to move into open spaces. Automobiles use routes 7, 23, 24. Avoid congested areas. Smoke now spreading over Raymond Boulevard.
X2L calling CQ, 2X2L calling CQ, 2X2L calling 8X3R. Come in, please.
This is 8X3R coming back at 2X2L.
How's reception? How's reception? K, please. Where are you, 8X3R? What's the matter? Where are you?
Okay, so it's starting to get real. So they're actually sending out broadcasts and saying that wear gas masks. There's gaseous clouds. They're recommending roads that you should take, and other roads, obviously, by recommending one road, you should avoid the other areas, which seem to be under attack. Okay, so this is, again, a radio drama in 1938. And so do you think this would be enough to scare the dickens out of you? Would you, as was widely reported, that there was panic, mass panic, and this radio drama caused all that? So we talked about that a little bit in the last episode. We'll recap it at the end here, just in case you missed that. But yeah, how does it make you feel at this point? So it seems like an actual a broadcast from the government or from some authority anyway. Maybe the military, maybe some local news station, something of the sort, and they're actually telling you wear gas masks. Escape, but via these routes, these are the safest places, and New Jersey is under attack. So pretty frightening, right? I think that's pretty scary stuff. Especially remember the day, 1938. You couldn't check on the internet. This was Sunday night when it aired, the night before Halloween, October 30th, 1938. And so you couldn't pick up the phone and call the government because, of course, they don't work on the weekends, et cetera, so on. So there were some problems here. There were some problems of actually verification back in the day. And so that's kind of made me think about maybe why this is some sort of CIA psyop. Okay, so anyway, or maybe the initial version of that as they got into MK Ultra and other stuff later. But yeah, okay, so there we go. So there's step one. Here we go. As it continues. So now escape routes, gas masks. The fight is on, and it continues.
I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building. I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building, New York City. The bells you hear are ringing to warn the people to evacuate the city as the Martians approach. Estimated in the last 2 hours, 3 million people have moved out along the roads to the north. Hutchison River Parkway is still kept open for motor traffic. Avoid bridges to Long Island, hopelessly jammed. All communication with Jersey Shore closed 10 minutes ago. No more defenses. Our army is wiped out. Artillery, Air Force, everything wiped out. This may be the last broadcast. We'll stay here to the end. People are holding service here below us in the cathedral. Now I look down the harbor, all manner of boats, overloaded with fleeing population pulling out from docks. Streets are all jammed, noise and crowds like New Year's Eve in city. Wait a minute, the enemy is now in sight above the Palisades. Five great machines. First one is crossing the river. I can see it from here, wading the Hudson like a man wading through a brook. A bulletin is handed me. Martian cylinders are falling all over the country. One outside of Buffalo, one in Chicago, St. Louis. Seem to be timed and spaced.
See, shit's hitting the fan. We have machines being reported, giant alien machines crossing the Jersey River, right? And again, escape routes reported, wear gas masks, and the military is now engaging, which was at the end of the last episode. We had the actual bombers and fighters actually flying in. You could hear reported that they were coming in to fight the alien menace in New Jersey. And again, radio broadcast, 1938, Orson Welles, and War of the Worlds, of course. So if you've never heard of it, this is the second half. The first half was last episode. So you can find that, of course, on troubledminds.org. Go to Facebook, go to YouTube. It's all there. You can find all the things and kind of catch up on this. What's up at Walsh from Mixer? Thanks for following. Okay, so there's the shtick. There's where it starts. Let's motor through this and continue. So it's hitting the fan. They're fighting these things, these giant robots, like crab type things with like 3 legs, and they're metal. They're stomping across the river, and the fight is on. Action.
Now the first machine reaches the shore. He stands watching, looking over the city. The steel cowlish head is even with the skyscrapers. He waits for the others. They rise like a line of new towers on the city's west side. Now they're lifting their metal hands. This is the end now. Smoke comes out, black smoke drifting over the city. People in the streets see it now. They're running toward the East River, thousands of them, dropping in like rats. Now the smoke's spreading faster. It's reached Times Square. People are trying to run away from it, but it's no use. They're falling like flies. Now the smoke's crossing 6th Avenue. 5th Avenue. 100 yards away. It's 50 feet.
Calling CQ. 2X2L calling CQ. 2X2L calling CQ, New York. Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone on the air? Isn't there anyone? 2X2L.
All right, now it's really hitting the fan. So now we have a gas, like some sort of poison gas pouring through Times Square, through New York, 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, continues 100 yards from the reporter. He's coughing. And then there's silence. Anyway, it cuts to some other broadcast of somebody actually asking for, is anybody there? Do you copy? Kind of giving you the feeling that the people have already succumbed to the alien menace so soon, before we can barely report it. That's how fast people are dying, and in mass numbers. Poison gas, among other things. Some sort of a death ray, laser rays, whatever they're doing, whatever they called them back then. And yeah, crazy stuff, scary stuff. Okay, so that's 3. Let's go with the next part. And again, so this show's live. So if you guys want to be part of the show, this is War of the Worlds. We're kind of replaying here and talking about it. And nobody's in the air. Nobody's on the air. On the air, says Justin. Yeah, I agreed. Like crazy stuff. This is a fun journey anyway. If you guys have never heard this, pretty fun. Okay, so we're gonna finish this, and so this is live. We're doing it in segments. So in case you want to call in and talk about whatever, talk about the show, talk about War of the Worlds, talk about life on Mars, talk about aliens, the reptilians, or the insectoids, whatever you want to talk about. We're here for that. So 702-957-1037. Going to put the number right up there, and you can join the Discord as well. It's linked in the chat several times. Just scroll up and find it, and you can join the show that way. Just if you want to get in Discord on the show, let me know, and I will. You got to type it in the chat, and then I'll pull you in, and we'll get you on the show that way. That's the way to do it. So join the Discord, get the audio working, and let me know you're ready. Jump in the caller queue, and then I'll draw you into the show. Okay, so so that's where we're at. Like people are dying, shit's hitting the fan, and we have this stuff going on. Okay, so here we go. Part 4, action.
As I set down these notes on paper, I'm obsessed by the thought that I may be the last living man on Earth. I've been hiding in this empty house near Grover's Mill, a small island of daylight cut off by the black smoke from the rest of the world. All that happened before the arrival of these monstrous creatures in the world now seems part of another life. A life that has no continuity with the present. Furtive existence of the lonely derelict who pencils these words on the back of some astronomical notes bearing the signature of Richard Pearson. I look down at my blackened hand and I try to connect them with a professor who lives at Princeton and who, on the night of October 20th, glimpsed through his telescope an orange splash of light on a distant planet. My wife, my colleagues, my students, my books, my observatory, my world. Where are they? Did they ever exist? Am I Richard Pearson? What day is it? Do days exist without calendars? Does time pass when there are no human hands left to wind the clocks? Writing down my daily life, I tell myself I shall preserve human history between the dark covers of this little book that was meant to record the movements of the stars. But to write, I must live, and to live, I must eat. Find moldy bread in the kitchen and an orange not too spoiled to swallow. Keep watch at the window. Time to time, I catch sight of a Martian above the black smoke. The smoke still holds the house in its black coil, but at length there's a hissing sound, and suddenly I see a Martian mounted on his machine, spraying the air with a jet of steam as if to dissipate the smoke. I watch in a corner as his huge metal legs nearly brush against the house. Exhausted by terror, I fall asleep.
Okay, so he's writing a journal after the fact. The battle seems to be over, and he's wondering in his home if he's the last human being left on Earth. He doesn't know the level of desolation, the level of destruction, and he's poetically waxing while wondering about a piece of moldy bread because he has to eat. And so, of course, there's no broadcast because the people are most of the people that run these things are perished, succumbed to the aliens, whatever you would say. And so then we have this individual, Richard Pearson, as he says, and is he even himself anymore? And is there actually a day when there's no calendar to go by and no other people to confirm it? So pretty heavy stuff, right? Okay, so that's the deal. So he continues, and so it continues like this. So it's kind of like the postscript after the battle, like shit's hit the fan. The aliens have attacked. A lot of people have died. Maybe all the people have died. Maybe most of the people have died. He hasn't, so he's still there. He's still blogging, as you would say, in 1938. Of course, it's a notebook, but you get the point. You get the correlation there. Okay, so as he continues, he continues. He's looking for some moldy bread to eat to continue writing because he doesn't know how long he has left because people aren't making food. People aren't growing crops. There's aliens probably everywhere, and he might be next. So here we go. Action.
Morning. Sun streams in the window. The black cloud of gas is lifted, and the scorched meadows to the north look as though a black snowstorm had passed over them. I venture from the house. I make my way to a road, no traffic. Here and there, a wrecked car, baggage overturned, a blackened skeleton. Push on north. For some reason, I feel safer trailing these monsters than running away from them. And I keep a careful watch. I've seen the Martians feed. Should one of their machines appear over the top of trees, I'm ready to fling myself flat on the earth. I come to a chestnut tree. October. Chestnuts are ripe. Fill my pockets. I must keep alive. 2 days I wander in a vague northerly direction through a desolate world. Finally, I notice a living creature. A small red squirrel in a beech tree. I stare at him and wonder. He stares back at me. I believe at that moment the animal and I shared the same emotion. The joy of finding another living being. Push on north. I find dead cows in a brackish field, and beyond the charred ruins of a dairy, the silo remains standing guard over the wasteland like a lighthouse, deserted by the sea. Astride the silo perches a weathercock. The arrow points north. North. Next day, I come to a city. City vaguely familiar in its contours, yet its buildings strangely dwarfed and leveled off as if a giant had sliced off its highest towers with a capricious sweep of his hand. Reached the outskirts. I found Newark. Newark, undemolished but humbled by some whim of the advancing Martians.
Okay, so he takes out to the streets. He wanders north a couple miles, northish, in a northerly manner. He's looking for any sign of life, and he's scared of an alien The first he's frightened that the first thing he sees, the first life form he sees, is going to be an alien, and he's surprised that it's a squirrel. It's the first form of life he sees, and it's a human. It's a not human, but it's a humanoid life. It's a earthbound. It's a terrestrial life. And so he continues, and gets to Newark, and in Newark, there's destruction. The tall buildings have been sliced off. Like I said, like a giant hand just chopped him down. And he's wondering, as he comes upon the city, what's next? Are they here? Have they gone? Am I still the only one? Crazy stuff. Let's continue. Action.
Presently, with an odd feeling of being watched, I caught sight of something crouching in a doorway. I made a step towards it, and it rose up and became a man. A man armed with a large knife.
Stop! Where do you come from?
I come from many places. A long time ago, from Princeton.
Princeton, huh? That's near Grover's Mill.
Yes.
Grover's Mill. There's no food here. This is my country. All this end of town down the river. There's only food for one. Which way are you going?
I don't know. I guess I'm looking for people.
Hey, what was that? Did you hear something just then?
No. Only a bird. A live bird.
Yeah. You get to know that birds have shadows these days. Say, we're in the open here. Let's crawl in this doorway here and talk.
Have you seen any Martians?
No. They're going over to New York. Night, the sky's alive with their lights, just as if people were still living in it. By daylight, you can't see them. 5 days ago, a couple of them carried something big across the flats from the airport. I think they're learning how to fly.
Fly?
Yeah, fly.
Hmm. Then it's all over with humanity. Stranger, there's still you and I. 2 of us left.
Yeah. They got themselves in solid. They wrecked the greatest country in the world. Those green stars, they're probably falling somewhere every night. They've only lost one machine. There isn't anything to do. We're done. We're licked.
And so he continues and finds a man. Of all things, of all things to find, he doesn't find Martians, oddly enough. He finds a man who has a knife and challenges him for food and says, there's not enough food here. Carry on. And then realizes in his, maybe the error of his ways, that this may be the only other person in the world with him. And so they continue to talk. And what is it? Have we lost? Have they moved on? Have they decimated 99% of the population and we're just the 2 of us? How come we don't see them? How come there's no current destruction happening? They've learned to fly, he says. What the hell, right? What the hell? So this show's live. So we're doing War of the Worlds tonight, and we're talking about life on Mars. We're talking about the methane fluctuations. We're talking about oxygen. We're talking about maybe the reptilians, or maybe the reported reptilians, let's say, and the reported insectoids that live up there, or maybe the Martians that look like people that maybe came here 1 million years ago, or longer than that ago. Who knows? How are we connected cosmically with this story? And is this just a radio drama? Is this a CIA psyop? I listen to this, and it's amazing, but there are also so many questions I have about how and why and when. This is 1938. Remember, Hitler was on the move. A very terrifying time. Shortly after World War I comes World War II. What's actually happening here? What's actually happening? Good question. Good question. Thanks, Mike. Good question. But if you have questions, if you want to get on the show and you want to talk about War of the Worlds or anything else that we've been kind of going over tonight, about life on Mars, how do you feel about it? Do you think it exists? Do you think it's intelligent or just microbes? Or do you think it's a bunch of hogwash and we're all just spinning our wheels here? All that's fair game because those are relevant questions. So if you want to be on the show, 702-957-1037. dial the number. It's right there. Las Vegas area code. You can also join the Discord. I'll drop the link in the chat in a minute. It's a voice and a chat client. It's free. You don't have to dial. You don't have to do any of that. Just join the Discord, and there we go. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue with this story, shall we? So we have human contact, and they're wondering where the aliens are. This has been a huge fight, and yet they still haven't seen any aliens. Peculiar, yes. Very peculiar. All right. Let's continue action.
Where were you? You're in a uniform.
Yeah, what's left of it. I was in the militia. National Guard. That's good. There wasn't any war. Any more than there's war between men and ants.
Yes, but we're eatable ants. I found that out. What'll they do to us?
I thought it all out. Right now, we're caught as we're wanted. A Martian only has to go a few miles to get a crowd on the run. But they won't keep on doing that. They'll begin catching us systematic, like keeping the best and storing us in cages and things. They haven't begun on us yet.
Not begun?
Not begun. All that's happened so far is because we don't have sense enough to keep quiet. Bothering them with guns and such stuff and losing our heads and rushing off in crowds. No, instead of our rushing around blind, we got to fix ourselves up according to the way things are now. Cities, nations, civilization, progress.
Yes, but if that's so, what is there to live for?
Well, there won't be any more concerts for 1,000,000 years or so, and no nice little dinners at restaurants. If it's amusement you're after, I guess the game's up.
What is there left?
Life, that's what. I want to live. Yeah, and so do you. We're not going to be exterminated. And I don't mean to be caught either. Tamed and fattened and bred like an ox.
What are you going to do?
I'm going on. Right under their feet. I got a plan. We men, as men, we're finished. We don't know enough. We got to learn plenty before we got a chance. We've got to live and keep free while we learn, see? I've thought it all out, see?
Well, tell me the rest.
Well, it isn't all of us that are made for wild beasts. That's what it got to. That's what it got to be. That's why I watched you. Watched you. All those little office workers that used to live in these houses. They be no good. They haven't any stuff in them. They used to run off to work. I've seen hundreds of them running to catch their commuter's train in the morning, afraid they'd get canned if they didn't. Running back at night, afraid they wouldn't be in time for dinner. Lives insured and a little invested in case of accidents. Yeah, and on Sundays, worried about the hereafter.
And so there we go. The philosophy of men that possibly think they're the last people on Earth, and how there will be no concerts for 1,000,000 years or more. Right? Some of the frivolous and trivial things we think when we think of luxuries, right? We think of what it means to be human, how we gather together, how we celebrate together. We think of these things, right? We don't think of our solitary moments. We think of the times we have together. And he's pointing out the fact that there is no more together. And we can look forward to that to 1,000,000 years. Hyperbole, of course, but also poignant and possibly true. So as they continue, so this is the War of the Worlds, and this is the prologue. After the alien fight, it appears the aliens have won. These two individuals find each other. They're having a discussion. It seems morbid. They're talking about what? Nothing. They're talking about a future of nothing. The future does not exist as we know it, and but we're men. But we're men. We thump our chest. We stand tall. And if we have to fight, if we have to die, if we have to do what we have to do, those are the things that we still have to do. And et cetera, so on. So there we go. So War of the Worlds, 1938, Orson Welles. And what do you think? Is there life on Mars? This is, of course, just a radio drama. But do you think this was some sort of CIA psyop, like a beta test, like Steve said there in the chat? Do you think it's they actually did this as a gain of function exercise to see how people would react to some sort of alien invasion? Or do you think it was just a clever radio show? And lots of questions here. And, of course, there's no documents to confirm or deny the CIA involvement, if there was at all, because prior to the National Security Act, 1947, and then the FOIA that came much later, documents were known to disappear from the government. They would burn them, they would disappear. And so many of the things that happened in the early days have vanished into history. And so all we have is our intellect and our speculation and being able to parse the propaganda. So what do you think? What do you think? Interesting questions, I think. Okay, so here we go. Let's continue. A couple more clips here, 4 more clips to be exact, and we're done with this story, War of the Worlds, which is amazing. One of the best stories ever. As Frank says, the Nose Hole, the greatest story ever told. I think this is right up there with it. So here we go. Action as they continue. Two men, after an alien invasion, found each other, and the conversation continues.
This is Bayonne, New Jersey, calling Langham Field.
Wrong button. And it continues.
The Martians, they'll be a godsend for those guys. Nice, roomy cages, good food, careful breeding, no worries. Yeah, after a week or so of chasing around the fields on empty stomachs, they'll come and be glad to be caught.
You've thought it all out, haven't you?
Sure, you bet I have. That isn't all. These Martians are going to make pets of some of them. Train them to do tricks. Who knows, get sentimental over the pet boy who grew up and had to be killed. Yeah. And some, maybe, they'll train to hunt us.
Oh, no, it's impossible. Human
Yes,
beings.
they will. There's men who do it gladly. If one of them ever comes after me, by...
In the meantime, you and I and others like us, where are we to live when the Martians own the Earth?
I got it all figured out. We'll live underground. I've been thinking about the sewers. Under New York, there are miles and miles of them. The main ones, they're big enough for anybody. Then there's cellars, vaults, underground storerooms, railway tunnels, subways. You begin to see, huh? We'll get a bunch of strong men together. No weaklings. That rubbish, out.
As you meant me to go.
All right. Give you a chance, didn't I?
Won't quarrel about that. Go on.
Well, we got to make safe places for us to stay in, see? Get all the books we can. Science books. That's where men like you come in, see? We raid the museums. We'll even spy on the Martians. May not be so much we have to learn before... Listen. Just imagine this. 4 or 5 of their own fighting machines suddenly start off. Heat rays right and left. Not a Martian in them. Not a Martian in them, see? But men. Men who've learned the way how. May even be in our time. Gee.
See that? Even with 2 of them left, they only believe there are 2 of them left in the world, and somehow they find the courage. I've got a plan. Here's what we do. We take the science books. We go underground. We collect all of the humans we can find. We create a resistance. And he stops short of saying it, but he's saying it. What's he talking about? That's right, he's talking about revolution. Right? And you see the parallels here. So who are the aliens really? Are the aliens an actual alien menace that came to destroy the Earth? Or is this some sort of totalitarian regime? Nice parallel, right? Seems like it could be a thing. I'm not a literary teacher, or was never really good in English, to be honest. My English literature classes, but seems like there's a parallel there. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. A couple more clips, and this is live. So it came to destroy the Earth. We're getting some sort of... Yeah, there we go. We're getting the Facebook copyrights now. So we got 3 more clips to get through as I smash the copyright button. And yeah, so then we'll talk about this after the fact of what actually happened with the War of the Worlds and how the reaction was from the public. We talked about it last episode, but just to fill it out, round it out, we'll talk about that this episode as well. And in case you missed it, and here we go. So action, third to last clip.
Imagine having one of them lovely things with a heat ray wide and free. We'd turn it on Martians. We'd turn it on men. We'd bring everybody down on their knees.
That's your plan.
Yeah. You, me, a few more of us. We'd own the world.
I see.
Hey, what's the matter? Where are you going?
Not to your world. Bye, stranger. Well, after parting with the artilleryman, I came at last to the Holland Tunnel, entered that silent tube, anxious to know the fate of the great city on the other side of the Hudson. Cautiously, I came out of the tunnel and made my way up Canal Street. Reached 14th Street, and there again were black powder and several bodies and an evil, ominous smell from the gratings of the cellars of some of the houses. I Wandered up through the 30s and 40s. Stood alone on Times Square. Caught sight of a lean dog running down 7th Avenue with a piece of dark brown meat in his jaws and a pack of starving mongrels at his heels. Made a wide circle around me as though he feared I might prove a fresh competitor. Walked up Broadway in the direction of that strange powder, past silent shop windows, displaying their mute wares to empty sidewalks. Past the Capitol Theater, silent, dark. Past a shooting gallery where a row of empty guns faced an arrested line of wooden ducks. Near Columbus Circle, I noticed models of 1939 motor cars in the showrooms facing empty streets. Over the top of the General Motors building, I watched a flock of black birds circling in the sky. Hurried on. Suddenly, I caught sight of the hood of a Martian machine, standing somewhere in Central Park, gleaming in the late afternoon sun. An insane idea. I rushed recklessly across Columbus Circle and into the park. I climbed a small hill above the pond at 60th Street, and from there I could see, standing in a silent row along the mall, 19 of those great metal titans, their cowls empty, their steel arms hanging listlessly by their sides. I looked in vain for the monsters that inhabit those machines.
All right, and so he continues, and he finds those monstrosities, the metal monstrosities, and he's looking for the things that pilot them, the aliens. So, but they're hanging listlessly. They are inert, so to speak. They're not moving. They're not attacking. There's something inconceivable happening. How is this possible? Have they abandoned ship? Have they left? Have they taken to the ground to go into buildings to find people? Like down to the last, they've won the battle and they're down to the last, going into buildings door to door, exterminating people. What are your thoughts when you see this? Hanging listlessly, these giant metal monstrosities. That's what he's talking about. And, of course, perplexed. He doesn't know what to think. They seem to be having problems, these metal machines. So let's finish this out and see how this ends.
Suddenly, my eyes were attracted to the immense flock of black birds that hovered directly below me. They circled to the ground. And there before my eyes, stark and silent, lay the Martians with the hungry birds pecking and tearing brown shreds of flesh from their dead bodies. Later, when their bodies were examined in laboratories, it was found that they were killed by the putrefactive and disease bacteria against which their systems were unprepared. Slain, after all, man's defenses had failed by the humblest thing that God, His wisdom, has put upon this earth. Before the cylinder fell, there was a general persuasion that through all the deep of space, no life existed beyond the petty surface of our minute sphere. Now we see further. Dim and wonderful is the vision I've conjured up in my mind of life spreading slowly from this little seedbed of the solar system throughout the inanimate vastnesses of sidereal space. But it's a remote dream. Maybe that the destruction of the Martians is only a reprieve to them and not to us. Is the future ordained, perhaps? Strange it now seems to sit in my peaceful study at Princeton, writing down this last chapter of the record, begun at a deserted farm in Grover's Mill. Strange to watch children playing in the streets. Strange to see young people strolling on the green where the new spring grass heals the last black scars of a bruised earth. Strange to watch the sightseers enter the museum where the dissembled parts of a Martian machine are kept on public view.
And now it seems that he's time traveled. He sees people where there was carnage, where there was chaos, where there was aliens. He sees children going into a museum where the fight was not long ago happening. And he's wondering what happened here. And so those listless machines that were hanging inert, there's something to that. It makes sense. It's starting to make sense. Does it make perfect sense yet? No. And he continues.
Strange when I recall the time when I first saw it. Bright and clean cut, hard and silent under the dawn of that last great day. This is Orson Welles, ladies and gentlemen. Out of character, to assure you that the War of the Worlds has no further significance than as the holiday offering it was intended to be. The Mercury Theater's own radio version of dressing up in a sheet and jumping out of a bush and saying boo. Starting now, we couldn't soap all your windows and steal all your garden gates by tomorrow night, so we did the best next thing. We annihilated the world before your very ears and utterly destroyed the CBS. You will be relieved, I hope, to learn that we didn't mean it and that both institutions are still open for business. So goodbye, everybody, and remember, please, for the next day or so, the terrible lesson you learned tonight. That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there, that was no Martian. It's Halloween.
Okay, there we go. That's the end. And so we have a spoiler alert. So what actually happened here? So the aliens have come and gone. People are back, and there's no specific particular explanation. But what was it? From the actual novel itself, if anybody's read the novel or at least read the Cliff Notes like we used to do back in the day when we didn't want to read the crappy book, this was a fantastic book. Unfortunately, they didn't make us read this in back in school. We had to read other crap like Pride and Prejudice. But so what actually happened here? Well, it turns out that the aliens were able to overpower humans, of course, with superior technology. However, the aliens met their demise with plain old earth germs. They were not able to. Their immune systems were not able to actually. They were not inoculated properly, let's say, and so they were defeated by simple things on this planet. They were not defeated by people fighting back. They were defeated by germs, viruses, bacteria. The things that as modern humans we've mostly conquered in the first world, and hopefully onto the second and third world countries, and the most remote places on the earth. But there you go. There's your spoiler alert. So do read the novel. That is War of the Worlds. H.G. Wells, 1898 is when that was written. Revolutionary, very, very, very smart guy. Predicted all kinds of things. Yeah, Larry says uploaded a virus. There you go. It's similar, right? It's some sort of actual virus, like actual. They couldn't survive the Earth habitat, and I think that's a good example and a good warning to us in the future. Again, 1898 that was written. 1938, this is when the radio drama was adapted on that the initial writing, and yeah. Crazy stuff. So what do you think about that? So here we are. This is the end of it. This is the end of that. And if you want to call, you have comments on War of the Worlds. Did you think it was a PSYOP, like a beta test for the CIA gain of function exercises just prior to World War II? Do you think that's just me being an optimistic tinfoil hatter? Do you think that this is just a fantastic radio play that got a lot of media attention? So as people said, that the way the public reacted to this was there were some people that got up in a hizzy. There were some people that panicked, and it was not a lot apparently. And so they were saying that at this time in 1938, the radio was actually taking away all the advertising from the newspapers, which I said in the previous show. At least this is what I've read in some sources. So how accurate? Can't tell you. I wasn't alive in 1938. I'm not that old, and probably neither are you. But they were saying that the newspapers resorted to clickbait type titles, and so they jumped on this as mass hysteria. And nobody actually died. Nobody jumped out of windows. Nobody committed suicide. And so people actually dying to this was and I go into it a little bit more in depth in the previous show. If you missed the first part, do check it out. All kinds of good conversation there as well. But it was some sort of a rebroadcast in another country years later that actually resulted in the deaths. So it was not the original broadcast. It was not in the United States, but some people rioted and attacked a radio station because they were either pissed off that they were fooled or they were fighting back or whatever. But I think 6 people died as a result. Many more injured, dozens injured, something like that. So there you go. There's the official story. As the official story sits. But you know how I feel about official stories. Yeah, that's right. The Mini Street Truth. The memory hole. Where if you go to Google and you type things in and it's dropped to the bottom of the index, why do you think they do that? Yeah, check it out. Do an experiment. Pull up Google, DuckDuckGo, do some searches. See what you think. See if I'm right. See if you should be frightened. See if we should be worried about brainwashing. Anyway, so, and also, what do you think about life on Mars? I think that's the final question here as we end this. This is the end of things and the end of the show. We got a few minutes left. We got a few minutes for you. So if you do want to call, I'm going to put the phone number up, and you can join the Discord and get on the show that way. 702-957-1037. Have you ever heard the War of the Worlds from the beginning to the end? Have you ever taken the time to listen to it? That's another good question. So lots of really good conversation to be had around this, not just because it was a good, entertaining thing, right, which things can be, and if it's only that, fine, it's only that. I'm willing to accept that. But what else? Does it make your mind wonder about current propaganda? Does it make your mind wonder about Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Academy? Does it make you wonder about Art Bell and Linda Moulton Howe and the alien metamaterials? Yeah, me too. Emin says the alien narrative has been rolling out and it will be a slow burn. There's no one big surprise disclosure as it will cause panic. And so I think that's what I'm saying. So do they? Was this panic? Or was the reach not wide enough? Or was it not propagated to enough radio stations at the time? What actually happened? What actually happened? Pretty crazy stuff. Like I said, a lot to parse here, a lot to talk about, a lot to think about. And I think that's the most important part about the show is thinking about these things. Which part of this is propaganda? Which part of this is just a good show? Which part of this is this? Which part of this is that? That's all. Continue, so on and so forth. And that's what we do here. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. That's what this show's all about. It's about thinking for yourself and wondering what these things are and why we're inundated with propaganda and counter-propaganda. And it leaves us in the middle trying to figure out what's true and what is not true. And I think back to the War of the Worlds from 1938, I think we can call this the original fake news, wouldn't you say? So it was done, like he said in the beginning, this is a dramatization. At the end, he said it's just a Halloween show where we wanted to make you scared. He admitted it, except, you know how people tune in and tune out, just like this show. People don't listen from the very first minute to the very last minute. People come and go. Some for 10 minutes, some for an hour. Some stick for the whole thing. But think about it. So if you came into the middle of that show and you heard the military fighting aliens and weren't sure if it was a real broadcast and stuck till the end, would you be terrified? Especially when you couldn't verify? Crazy stuff. Yep. Okay, so there we go. So we're at the end of this. We did War of the Worlds last time, War of the Worlds this time, part 1, part 2, but this is about the current day, and this is about the current propaganda, and do we believe there's life on Mars? I think that's a bigger question. I think that's the bigger question we should be asking of ourselves, and of our media, and of our governments, and of all the places, and of our academia that refuse to take a firm stand on this. Go back. You go back in the archives, I don't know, probably a year ago, I shouted into this same damn microphone, and I said, I'm calling it. There's life on Mars. And I said it then. I'm not going to go dig it out because there's too much shit I've said, too many words I've said, but I said it. Go ahead, fact check me. That shit's there. I said it then. It was obvious. If anybody is a critical thinker and a macro thinker, I think you see there's life on Mars. What capacity is the question? And yeah, there we go. So if you want to say that Michael Strange said it, fine, stick it to me. You can stick it to me, and in 10 years, when the scientists actually admit it, I'll say, I told you so. Because I told you so. All right, so here we are. We're at the end of this. Life on Mars, War of the Worlds. And here we are. Here we are. Yep, Notorious LAN, thanks for showing up. Trump's 6'2", Barron is like 6'7", and he's only a kid. I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Go back to the time travel episode. We talked about Barron Trump and time travel. So, pretty good stuff. Okay, so this is the end. If we got a couple more minutes for you if you want to call, 702-957-1037. If you haven't joined the Discord, I'm linking it. Do join the Discord. A lot of smart people in there. As you see in the chat, you see all kinds of smart chat going on. That continues in the Discord offline as well. So you can reach some of these people directly and myself directly when I'm not on the show. So I'm also active on Discord, and we can talk about these things. So there it is. There's the link one more time. This link will self-destruct 24 hours from now. So Discord is the new Troubled Minds Secret Society. Be there or be square. All right. And as we end this, you know what's up. You know what's going on here. Guess what this is. You know what this is. You know what you're listening to. Yeah, that's right.
Troubled Minds Radio.
And so as we end this, ask yourself, what amount of propaganda can make you decide or make you disbelieve there's life on Mars or there's life out there in the greater universe? And then ask yourself, what do you truly believe? Which sources do you actually track? Which sources should you ignore? I think the source is important. Probably more important than the question itself. So, yeah, there we are. So as we ponder that, as we continue the next show, we'll be back on Friday night, of course, and we're going to do some other interesting things. Maybe we'll do alien metamaterial. Maybe we'll do some anomalous stuff from a coelacanth 8867, I believe it's called, or 6687. I don't know, something like that. But there's some alien stuff. We got more aliens to talk about, but we're going to do what we do. We're going to watch the propaganda cycle, the 24-hour news cycle, and we're going to talk about these things. And Elon Musk, of course, and the rest of this, so on and so forth. But in the end, remember, it doesn't matter what I think. It only matters what you think. So there we are. At the end of this, I don't see anybody calling. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking through it. I know it's a long show, but I think it's important because sometimes you can't get what you need in a 30-second clip because that's what the news tries to do to you. It's brainwashing. Yeah. This is transparency. Open book. You call me. I answer the phone. Try and do that with the government or the media. Ain't happening. Okay, so at the end, thanks for hanging out. Larry says, great show. Night. All horrible Martian drama. Horrible Martian dreams are waiting. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. You got a plan, see? You got a plan, remember? Okay, so, yeah, we're at the end. And so, if you're new, my name is Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds Radio. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for listening. Please do all the things, like and share. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, because we probably have some things in common. We're people after all. And that's that. Until Friday night, from my troubled mind to yours, have a great night.